places in the world, those people don't just walk out. They're conflict. It could be the last time you walk out of your house. You didn't have to worry about that. You're talking about stress. Can you imagine leaving your house and not sure if you're going to come back? We may not facing that level of stress, but it does affect us because it's part of the whole. It's the same world, except a different region. So who am I? I believe both individually and collectively, we are experiencing a crisis of identity to figure out who am I? The teacher, the professor, the counselors, the CEO, the millennial, the husband, the wife. Who am I? How do I deal with all this? And so I suggest that we need nothing short but a conscious revolution. We were talking about that. Well, somebody tell us, what do we mean by conscious revolution? There's two of you shouldn't say anything. You shouldn't say anything because you were part of the conversation earlier. And there's someone else who was there. Conscious revolution, what are we talking about? Why do we need a conscious revolution? Now, I think the reason why many people are trying to refrain from that because you're talking about a revolution, Mr. Pierre. I don't want to be a new revolution because we have a negative connotation about the word revolution. But what if I remove conscience and put economic revolution? You probably say, yeah, that's me, I'm going to make more money if there's an economic revolution, right? If I change conscience to economic revolution, yes.
Well, I think that in this day and age, people are so connected to their devices, and it so easily removes them from their state of being, from themselves, and so it's sort of a distraction, really. So to be able to look inwards and to reflect, I think is what you're referring to.
That's correct, yes, to be able to go inward, because going inward is where we will experience the true self.
The true pure consciousness.
The true pure consciousness. Because as you heard, the consciousness is pure. There was no conflict, there's no competition, there's no need, there's no want, there's no desire, there's no envy, there's no jealousy, there's no competition. That's why the consciousness is pure. When we experience this deep consciousness, we really experience who I am. There's no fear. And most of all, there's no bill. I don't have to worry about paying a bill. No one will meditate. Don't go meditating and tell your creditors, well, Mr. Pierce, I can meditate my bill out. No, that's not what we mean. But in that experience, all the fears, all the worries are gone. And that's what we mean. So we need that conscious revolution, and just what she says, so we can disconnect from those electronic devices, and not just that, disconnect with some of the responsibility, disconnect with some of the fear and the worries that we have to experience the true self. And thereby, only when we arrive there will we begin to realize that we are alive, we are existing. That's what we mean. We begin to discover what we call the mysteries of life. And there, we says, they are constantly, we are dealing with unfulfilled self. We're never satisfied. There's always one more thing I have to accomplish. There's one more goal I have to achieve. There's one more degree I have to have. Even in our personal relationship, we do that all the time to our spouses. No matter how many times he said he loves you, you're still going to say, honey, do you love me? You better say it right. No, I don't mean, yeah, do you? There's always this desire for confirmation, for affirmation. And there's nothing wrong with that in and of itself, but there's this constant unfulfilled self. Dr. Nielsen and I were talking earlier before you start coming, we were talking a little bit economic. Don't talk economic, your blood pressure starts going up. Seriously, we're talking about some of those CEOs who's going to get a check of $5 million for bonus. That's because he did great work on 2015. The company wants to appreciate and give him a bonus of 50-something million. And then we have somebody who's going to take that information and put it in a magazine and tell you, now read it. There's a lot of them. One of them is the Forbes magazine, sometimes Time magazine will do one of those publishing. Every so often you pick a magazine, they tell you the 100 most rich people in the world. I don't read those magazines. I don't have anything against somebody who's rich. I wouldn't mind try be rich, just to have the experience. That means it's the same thing. I just want to know what it's feeling, and then come back here. You probably say, yeah, right. Once you're rich, you never come back. But the idea is this constant, unfulfilled self. And so therefore, you and I, we live in a culture where being busy, because people who have all this responsibility is very busy. And we want to follow them. We look at them, the people we talk about. Can you imagine a young person who's 24, she's 24, and she literally have thousands of people who's answering to her. You know how much pressure that is? She give lecture and she talk about how she have no time to sleep. Because when she go home, she eat dinner and then, talk with her family, blah, blah, and then she get back into the device. She's online, she's moving, she's shaking things. That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of stress. And so we look at someone like this because of our unfulfilled self. We think, that's what I want to be. I want to be like her, like him. I want to be influential. I want to be a mover. I want to be a shaker. Yes, you can, but not at the expense of the who I am, which is often what happened. Okay, so the unfulfilled self. And so the constricted self, what we end up happening, we see stress. It's everywhere. Most of all, stress enters inside of us. It penetrates who we are. Everywhere we turn, there's stress all over the world. Where there's political conflict, diplomatic conflict, financial conflict, and then we bring it down to the micro, personal conflict, family conflict, children conflict, community conflict. It's all around and all over us. And so it's affecting our health, it's affecting our lives in many ways. And as we talked about earlier, one of the things that Dr. Nielsen and Dr. Parida and I will get it, trust me, I promise. One of these days, I'm proud of it. Mr. Pierre, you got it. Dr. Parida was sharing with us is when we talk about the pure consciousness is when we really experiencing not only the state of consciousness, but we begin to see how precious is this vessel through which life manifested itself through. It is through that life manifested itself. The body, it's a vessel through which life manifested itself. And we talk about the breath. But when we look at the nervous system and look at how stresses affect the body, we realize how stress affects particular organs of the body, from the lungs to a liver. It affects that. And so therefore, one of the things stress is caused in the body, it causes it to be imbalanced. Because the minute the energy flow of your body is not flowing in a smooth, you are imbalanced. It's a matter of fact, in Ayurveda, if you go and see a doctor who practicing Ayurvedic medicine, which is another integrative Middle Eastern philosophy medicine, which is actually the true medicine. Ayurveda is just a Sanskrit word, simply means the science of life. That's precisely what it means. Actually, the majority of what we have used in conventional medicine is taken from those old tradition, one which is Ayurvedic. If you were to come and see me, and you're someone who open to what we call integrative medicine, and you want to integrate those traditional medicine into your lifestyle for literally true healing, I wouldn't tell you you're sick. I would tell you you're in balance, because you are. It's the energy in your body that is in balance. And whenever there's imbalance in the body, it causes all kinds of things, from inflammation, which often be a beginning of illness, to whatever the symptoms that you're going to experience in the body. So instead of saying, yes, I'm ill or I'm sick, we will say you're in balance, which means we're going to find the source of the imbalance, not just dealing with the symptoms, which is give those tradition the essence as pure medicine and provide it through healing. Because in Ayurvedic medicine, we don't deal with the symptoms. We find the underlying factor that caused you to be in my office, and we want to deal with that. Why do you think that is? Not only do we not deal with the symptoms, why do you think that? But yes.
When you deal with the symptoms, you're just masking the problem.
Just masking the problem, which is what we do. It's worked for a while, you're going to have to keep coming back. Because it doesn't deal with the underlying factors, it doesn't deal with the core, what caused the body to be imbalanced. And that's where we go. In addition to, from Ayurvedic point of view, I look at you as a whole person, not part of you. So if you tell me you have shoulder pain, I'm going to analyze you from head to toe. Because the shoulder pain may have nothing to do with that particular location of the body. But just imagine one of our doctors, you go see him or her to analyze you because you say you have some shoulder pain. Today, one of our doctors in any medical facility is seeing 59 patients a day. Do the math. 59 patients in a day, it's boom, 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 boom. You have no time. If I go there and tell my doctor, I'm having some stomach uncomfortability, he's not going to say, well, how's your relationship with your wife? Something to do with your stomach. What do you mean? No. I said, well, don't you want to know? No, I don't want to know that. Let's deal with. He probably think, okay, Mr. Pierre, I think you're avoiding the problem. No, I'm not. My stomach pain, maybe I'm depressed. Do you believe if I'm having a depressive experience, it can affect my immune system? But see, we don't train our doctor to go there. He's going to give me something to drink or to swallow, and then send me home, and then go see the next patient. And we're not being critical of our doctor. They're doing the best they can. We create the system and put them in it. Yes?
Well, actually, just to follow up on what you said about masking the symptoms, one simple example we give on the same lines is imagine you have fever. The reason the body temperature rises is to battle the bacteria or the bugs that are causing the infection, right? So that's a natural defense mechanism which has been built over billions of years of evolution to get to the form we are in. So that slight rise in temperature doesn't affect the human body because it's too little, but that's devastating for the bacteria, so they get killed with that. But what do we do in conventional medicine, Western medicine, is we give an antipyretic, which is to bring the fever down. So here, that's exactly what you said, is masking the symptom. So it's a very temporary thing. It's like putting a Band-Aid on an open wound. So if you bring the temperature down by giving this antibiotic, or not even antibiotic, antipyretic, paracetamol, something like that, the temperature will come down, but the bugs will start spreading.
Yes.
So what you have done is by masking the symptom, you're actually spreading the underlying cause.
Absolutely.
So we have to be mindful of that. That's it.
Thank you. Yes. And so we were talking about earlier how one of the movement that's been going on around the world and in our country, in the United States, is this movement of what we call a paradigm shift. The paradigm shift is medical facilities, including mental health facilities, seeing and integrating these old tradition, things like mindfulness, meditation, yoga, aromatherapy, all those these been used for thousands of years. I share with you about my grandmother. It's interesting, this woman, I'm sure you probably have someone in your life that have influenced you. I hope you have, and a family member. This woman was fascinating. Dr. Nelson, she didn't know how to read and write. She couldn't read and write. When she received a letter in the mail, one of us have to read it for her. But she knows the Bible from cover to cover. And I'm like, Mom, how did you do that? Well, she spent all her life in churches and listened to priests read the Bible. If I were to come home from school and I don't look well and I don't feel well, she would tell me, you know, look this way, don't move your head. I said, that's what my doctor's doing now. This woman was not a doctor. She said, look that way. Open your mouth, go ah. And she said, go sit down. I go sit down, she goes back in the backyard, come back with her apron full of a bunch of leaves. Yes, literally. She's in the kitchen. She come up with a big spoon of ugly green looking stuff. And she said, open it. I'm out, and then I'm out. That's it, in a few minutes. She knows every leaf in the backyard. She knows them by name, by looks, and what they do. When one of our siblings married and have children, she get them out of the hospital a couple hours later. She said, I'll take care of her. And she does. She used to do bath. She will mix those big leaves with hot water. And literally, she will cover them with, and all the boys, out. All of you, the husband, everybody out. She will massage the body. Big hands of leaves with hot water. We see her. And when that woman done, she's all bowel, the joint and everything. And we men, we have no idea. We think we do, but we don't. I wouldn't even go there. What the body goes through. And this woman knows what to do. She didn't know how to read. She was using those ancient traditions. She was the doctor of the family. We didn't have money to go to the doctor, but any one of us that's sick, we say, I'm going to go see Mom. And she will take care of us. And so we need to know how stress is affecting our health. And we know that this will the autonomic nervous system is, our nervous system have those two components or two functions, how each of them, control different organs in the body. I know we're looking at this, but someone, don't be bashful, the best you can. What's the difference between the parasympathetic division and the sympathetic division? Why there's any difference in the two functions? It's all one nervous system, but it functions in this dual multi-function. What's the difference? I'm going to turn you into a medical doctor. We do have an MD here, so I better be on my best.
I'll
Yes.
give it a go.
Yes.
Sympathetic is the spinal column, and the parasympathetic is like all of the organs. So the thing is in fight and flight to address the parasympathetic system to impact the sympathetic
Yeah,
system.
you look at my husband, didn't you? No, that's true. Our sympathetic is the part of the nervous system that react to things. Like when my boss said, Mr. Pierre, I have a problem with your report. My sympathetic nervous system constricted and then speak to the organ and she can see I'm nervous. You can tell that's the fight and flight. And so that's what stress does to the body. One of the key elements of stress, it's literally biological and needful, is cortisol. It produced in the body, which is a natural element. It's a natural hormone. We need cortisol in the body, but too much of it, it causes imbalance in the body, which is how it comes to be known as a stress hormone. It's not because it's bad, but because we force the body to create too much of it, and too much of it create imbalance. We call it stress. Now, nowadays, there's a lot of talk about wellness. I am into wellness. We're into wellness. Dr. Nielsen is into wellness. You're all probably in wellness. There's wellness everywhere. Everybody's talking about gym and magazine. You turn on your TV, everybody's talking about wellness. There's a lot we can do to manage our well-being. But we have to take personal responsibility for that to happen. For example, I shared this with the group yesterday. As you recall, one of the things I do when I do training for an organization is to ask them, is it possible for me to meet and greet the people I'm going to train? Remember, we talked about that. And the reason that is because I am removing barriers so we can get the most out of the training when I do it. And over the years, myself, when I go to training, trainers usually take 5, 10, sometimes 15 minutes, introduce. Notice I didn't ask you to introduce yourself, you just get friendly with your neighbor. You know each other, but it's okay to do that, but I like to get to the bottom of things. And if we were to do a meet and greet, I would give you some instruction. I would tell you tonight, the night before the training, would you please don't drink any caffeine. If you have medication and a doctor's supervision, please take them. But before you go to bed, I want you to drink a tall glass of cold water. What's the meaning of that? What would be the purpose of meaning not thirsty, but this guy told us to drink a tall? What would be the reason I say that? Cleansing would be one.
Staying hydrated.
Stay hydrated, yes.
I'm not sure about in the evening, but I believe that in the morning when you do that, it's supposed to help jumpstart your organs.
Yeah, that's what I would tell you to do in the morning. Correct. That tall glass of cold water, tell the body, don't put those cortisone, reduce the amount. When you get up this morning, it was cortisol that involved in your awareness, letting you, I need to get to work, I need to get ready, I need to hit the shower, play a very important part. And when you get up in the morning, you do the same. I will tell you, drink the same amount of warm water before you come here. Avoid any caffeine. Now, I get myself in trouble. So you say, no, Mr. Beer, I will drink my caffeine. I know you meant well. I said, go ahead if you must. But the idea is to bring the body in a state of awareness, keep it pure, a little bit cleansing, the legislature to cleanse the body, because the more we clean the body, the more balanced it is. So be mindful and be aware of how stress is affecting how the environment we create, affecting our body is very important. And as we talk about of the immune system. And stress, this is how it affects the whole body, each one of the components. And those parts are very, very, very important to all of us and who we are. It affects us particularly. And this is why I say to you, so that if I would go to my doctor and I say I'm having knee problem, it probably had nothing to do because of the squat I did at the YMCA yesterday, or because I ran. It probably had to do, I'm under a lot of stress. There was a time I used to go to the gym because I was stressful. And I go there and then take my stress off the metal, of the iron, lifting weight. It's interesting, as I'm getting deeper into the research and study how stress is affecting my body, now I'm going to the YMCA as enjoyment. I enjoy being at the gym, enjoy my workout. You go to the gym, right?
This one.
Are you a gymnast?
I am.
Yes, absolutely. Goes to the gym for enjoyment because it's good, you know. But and again, it's okay if you are under stress. I can work out, and we advise that it'd be a good thing to do to work it out. But we need to be mindful how stress affecting each part of the body. Okay, let's stop here and let's take a 10 minutes break. And then when we'll come back, we'll continue. Thank you. You can put your shoes on.
This is exactly along the lines of what you know that I have a stress reduction.
I think I read about it. Yeah,
yeah.
I do. Yes, yes, absolutely.
Right along the line, it's just amazing how these things fall into place.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm talking about that too. This is synchronicity, just the way we bumped into each other. This really looks like.
Well,
it's beautiful, isn't it?
I know you used the word bump, but I think it was meant to be.
No, it was, yeah.
The energy is bringing, because the energy is, it's connected,
bound
it's
to
unite,
happen.
it bound to happen. It cannot be subdivided. If any obstruction causes it,
Yeah.
it bring itself
Right,
back
exactly.
into. So
Fall
it's
into
gonna,
place.
it's gonna pull all of us.
All those jigsaw puzzle pieces, they're all getting
Absolutely,
together.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Great.
You wanna say something?
Yes.
Come on.
Hi, I'm Hannah.
Sorry.
That's okay, it's very, I'm really enjoying the presentation.
Thank you, thank
Yes.
you, thank you.
I was wondering if you had any resources or books that you would recommend that kind of go along with.
Yes, we were just talking, Dr.
I
Parisian. Yes.
mentioned to another gentleman here, he was more interested in learning about quantum science and things that's to do with the human body, the
Uh-huh.
concept I mentioned.
Yes.
There's a book by Dr. Gerber, Gerber,
Uh-huh.
book, the name of the book is called Vibrational Medicine.
Vibration medicine.
And he's an MD, but he believes in integrative approach. And this is integrative medicine is what we're talking about.
Right.
Vibration medicine is the same. There they talk about the concepts of the human body as you go along. So they talk about the model.
And you have,
Goes through all those things. And talks different types of one of the other books which are even one of those would be by Deepak Chopra.
Right.
It's the perfect health one. An ageless body, timeless mind.
yes, Deepak Chopra, Deepak Chopra. Yes,
Those two books actually get the same concept.
yes,
So they almost, they're like spiritual books, but they really talk about scientific
Yes.
positions. So it's like what I'm doing now is in a medical background. It's a self-healing process.
Yes.
Because if you have an illness, the best way to heal the body is actually designed after self-heal.
yes,
So any
Yes.
illness you have, the only three things that the self-healing won't do is if you have a fracture. So if you have an injury, if you have an infection or trauma, then that cannot be dealt with just by mind,
thinking,
body.
yes,
Apart from the acute phase, once you get into the subacute phase, chronic phase, that's when you self-healing comes in. And self-healing is so powerful that just you talking about it, like, for example, if you have faith and
yes,
trust in
Yeah.
will have an
what you're
effect.
saying, you're activating the self-healing process automatically. Same thing, thought process. We talk about stress a lot. So if you have a thought process, you look at somebody who gets stressed out, almost simultaneously releasing the molecule.
Yep, yep.
System in your chemistry. So the thought molecule becomes a chemical molecule simultaneously.
Sound, yeah,
And the synaptic changes to cause the reaction in the body are also happening at the same time. So there is really, at the quantum level, there is no difference. The structural thing, the chemical thing, the thought process, they're all the same.
they're all the same, and thus I call it the mysteries of life. This is a mystery.
So how did you get into this?
Oh, well, that's a loaded question.
Oh, okay.
It's good. No, I would be glad to share with you. Meditation was introduced to me. I was studying to be a priest in the Catholic Church, and a priest is a very isolated journey. You have to be by yourself
Right.
the whole time. Well, something with other student priests, and meditation was introduced to me back in Haiti. Then I went to Canada to complete my study, and that's when I got into the philosophy and got into the middle mission, understand that what the Catholic Church was teaching me, it's something that is thousands and thousands of years old from
Right.
millennia, from China, and I really got into it. And then I realized the only way to really not simply know the theory of it, is something to practice, and that's why I choose the field of being a counselor, because what I was experiencing, one of the things we do as a priest is confession.
Right.
But we're not allowed to use any type of method for the parishioners. When they confess to us, we're supposed to be what we call absolution, the forgiveness of sin.
Right.
But then when I went to psychology and philosophy and sociology, I realized we can actually get help. And then so I chose that field. But then the spiritual experience I was having was that I realized the people who was coming and confess the sin is the same thing those people was coming sharing with me with their mental stuff and the psychology. Then I realized I have to be a medium to reach when I can bring the two of them together. And then I went back to school and started studying all that.
Yeah, that is the fallacy we have in society that we
good.
Yes.
And
Yes.
actually, I've always been together from time.
That's the way to prevail.
I always, whenever I
I'm
talk,
actually-
if you're talking,
This week was the first week
if
that
you
we
look
really
at
had
the
sex
practice,
and
it's a symbol of
maybe during.
Yeah.
So you see that it's very powerful.
Yeah, everything's looking good.
That is-
25
that's
weeks
what
in,
modern-
so.
Modern medicine is simple, that's what it's like.
I should have gone over.
Got a little bit of
Two parts,
time.
so
Yeah.
facing each other.
Feels,
the
somebody asked me
body-
today, but it feels like it's going
What is
fast.
silk and rib?
I feel like it's going slow. I think because I'm just very aware of it all the time.
Of the spots,
Not that
yeah.
I'm thinking about it all the
Yes.
time, but I'm aware of it all the
It's
time.
straight.
Right?
The reason is
So I think it just feels like,
that it's actually.
yeah, I've been anticipating it for a long time. I mean, I feel fine, and it's not that pregnancy itself has been really hard. It just feels like
Yes.
So if you think about it,
And now I'm
people
trying to
who
get
design the
a
center.
long, yeah, it just feels like a long time.
It was you using
Right,
the
more of an
Eastern
integrative
symbol.
approach.
There you go. It's an
But yeah,
integrative
it's all
approach.
about helping. And I've always been so
All the
Like
long.
these two pictures.
You're very healthy.
Yeah, I mean, some of them are scheduled like this vacation. Yeah, I've had trouble with those stuff over the years, so.
Can you do that?
Can you imagine that?
So that separation from
Yeah.
having this lobby. So the modern sense of
It's not really difficult for myself, not that I don't mind everything, so I think it's been able to, I've been okay investing into it. I think I've been but we find it good. I think the biggest thing is just that you're in a I feel like restaurants are doing a lot, not necessarily like fast food, but like places do that. I feel like a lot of them are pretty well hungry. Just if you know,
that's not where we are. This is same thing happens with the activity of
Good.
this kind of stuff is always really interesting to me because I think with, so.
And that's what I'm talking about when you say the conflict resolution.
Right,
It has to-
Like,
and what we mean by
focus
conflict
on
resolution, that is something we can
medication
have
to bring down
communication with everyone, because it's not just
Okay, right,
us,
no,
right?
it's
It's all of
there,
us.
yeah.
It's connected.
Right, and I think it's definitely.
And I want
Oh,
to say,
yes.
well, even if
It
so,
is. It is.
and so it's just interesting to,
Magnificent. Yeah.
and stress levels are also, and just how, right, a year ago, I guess last fall, I'd been talking to a doctor that was filling in for my regular doctor, it was kind of an emergency, so I was talking to him. And he made some comment after the
Right, well, thank you very much.
No, it's a pleasure. And what I'm going to do is,
because I had been treating my Crohn's disease, but all
I'm
he
gonna
saw
pass
was
this
we're not
one.
doing the medication, so you must not be treating it. And I had amended my
And what I would do is, I would not only, it's important to send me some of the books, that you can read in addition to research. Yes, go ahead. Yes, oh yes, absolutely. Okay, let's resume. Thank you. The next thing we want to briefly share, I usually use essential oil when we do those training. And remember, it's the way of helping us to focus in the here and now. You really will not get much from the training if all you get out of it is the theoretical, the analytical, the intellectual part of it. Those training designed to really help you to